Coming up in this video, we're going to show you some books I got signed down at a signing at Third Eye Comics in Annapolis, Maryland. Stay tuned. Hey everybody, this is Rusty again with Collector Auctions, and today I've got a short video where I'm going to go over some of the books that I got signed at a signing down in Third Eye Comics in Annapolis, Maryland. Now, who they brought in over this last weekend was none other than Jason Aaron, the writer at Marvel. He has done so many books and has been writing so many significant books over Marvel over the last decade. None more significant probably than the having Jane Foster become the new Mighty Thor. Of course, that movie just came out. It has been greatly influential in terms of direction of Marvel. He has been spearheading so many different books. I can't even begin to go into his whole catalog of different stuff he's worked on. I know he's worked on Ghost Rider, Wolverine. I know he's done different stints with the Punisher, including the new series right now, as well as currently working on the Avengers, and he just finished up the whole Heroes Reborn and Heroes Return storyline. And again, the whole thing that he did with Thor and Jane Foster, just outstanding work. Some people are big fans, some people are not quite as big fans. In fact, I just saw a video by Thinking Critical really criticizing Jason Aaron on one of his new, I think it's the New Avengers Assemble book that just came out. And I get it, there's some people not fans of these things, but be it as it may, he's probably one of the biggest writers at Marvel these days. And I had a chance to go down to Annapolis, Maryland over the weekend and meet him and get some things signed. So let's get into it. Let's show you some of the books that I got signed. And yeah, that's it. It's a comic book video, guys. All right, first up is Avengers #1. And actually, I would show you this too at the same time. I got Avengers #2 as well. This is the current run of the Avengers. And I got these signed. I might not necessarily have pulled these out exactly, except when I bought these at a little show down in Maryland earlier this year, they were already signed by Mark Morales. That's the inker. And I went ahead and picked them up. They weren't expensive. I mean, a couple bucks here and there. But I always like to get books signed by multiple creators, and I'd gotten Mark Morales in the past, so I didn't need to get him on these again, but this gave me a chance to get another creator on this book, so I went ahead and had Jason Aaron write these. It's a fun storyline. You've got some wonderful Ed McGuinness artwork that you will see in some of the other books here. I didn't realize that until I pulled these out here, and I realized several of these books are going to have Ed McGuinness in it. All right, next up is something I got signed. I probably wouldn't have gotten it signed, except that the cover is so outstanding that I hope to get Alex Ross on it someday, and I got 2 copies of this. I got 2 copies of the Punisher #1. This is the newest Alex Ross Timeless cover of the Punisher there. What outstanding artwork. And in fact, I had these books ready to go into CGC, and when I saw that Jason Aaron was going to be there, I decided, okay, I'm just going to hold them back. I'm going to get them signed, and hopefully someday I'll be able to get Alex Ross on here as well. So, again, following through with that thing where I want to try to get multiple people in the same book. But what a wonderful signature right there in the middle, having signed in silver right over top the dark costume of the Punisher. That was outstanding. All right, the next book is another book. I got 2 copies of it signed, and I'm doing the exact same thing as I just did with that Punisher book. And I'm talking about, I believe this is Heroes Return #1. This is the Patrick Gleason Stormbreakers cover that he did. It's the same one on both of these. It is of Power Princess holding Captain America, defeated Captain America over his shoulders. It is one of my two favorite covers of 2021. The other one being from Heroes Reborn #1, it's the Art Germ cover of the same character, Power Princess. And I saw this, I've talked about this cover before. It is very reminiscent to me of Fantastic Four #249, where you have Gladiator holding the Thing over his shoulders like that. And it's the same kind of pose almost. And it was very reminiscent, it reminded me of that. And this is a book that I've gotten graded. It's in my PC. I had these sitting aside. They're not really worth a lot, to be honest. They are even graded. They're not worth too much, except to me because I love it so much. But I had them set aside. They were pressed. They were ready to go again if I wanted to submit this again. But I really was wanting to save this for a Ryan Stegman signing. But we got Jason Aaron to come in, so I went ahead and got him signed. He signed it up here over top of Cap's knees. I had that area marked off when I was getting these ready. I don't know if that was necessarily the best choice. Maybe I should have gone up here in this area. That black over Cap's knees kind of blends in a little bit, but it's still okay. I didn't want to do it down at the bottom because I kind of want, if I get Ryan Stegman, I kind of want to have his signature down there, more over the artwork, I suppose. And this is the book where I was talking, where I've got more Ed McGuinness goodness right here. Just a wonderful artwork on the inside. Whether you enjoy the Heroes Reborn, Return, I'm not sure which one. It was Heroes Reborn, and then it was Heroes Return, I suppose. His artwork was fantastic, no matter what you thought of the storylines there and what they did with that. I enjoyed it. It was just a fun series, and I'll save that for McGuinness as well as Ryan Stegman on this. All right, the most significant books that I got signed by Jason Aaron there were these two right here. It is Thor #1 and Thor #8. And I'll set them here on the side so you can see. Both of them have beautiful signatures. He signed up here on top of her helmet, Jane Foster's helmet right there, and then down at the black right underneath where it was very dark down there, had him sign in silver on that one. This is issue #8. That's, of course, issue #1. This is the first cover appearance by Jane Foster as Thor. Not her first appearance, but this book is still pretty significant. Recently, this market for this book has gone down so much since the movie has come out, and it's still a pretty valuable book. I had this ready. This was a brand new one I had bought, and I was getting ready to send it back into CGC. In fact, it's already been pressed. It's been worked on. It's ready to go. But I pulled it out in this case to go ahead and get him signed. At this case, I'll end up having to send it down to CBCS to get it authenticated. But I wanted to add some value to this book, mostly because the market on a 9.8 on this has really dropped. I mean, at one point a year ago, it was well north of $150, $200 CGC 9.8. These days, you're going to be lucky to get $100 for a 9.8 on something like this. So this is a case where I'm trying to add a little bit of value to it because, as I said, the market has dropped. Now, this one right here is interesting. I had sent this into a pre-screen 9.8 earlier in the year, and it was a failure. Now, I don't know why it failed because it looks really good. I've taken the time to go back and clean and press it again. Of course, I'll still double check it. It was sitting there ready to go, and I felt like this is the issue where we find out that Jane Foster is the new Mighty Thor. So these are the two most significant books in this signing I did today, and the two that I think I've really added a lot of value to. The other ones are more personal PC type projects more than anything. These are ones that I will use hopefully down the road to help pay for some of the CGC orders and things like that. Okay, so the last books I ended up getting signed by Jason Aaron was books on his brand new book called Once Upon a Time. I'm reading it here. Once Upon a Time at the End of the World. It is from Boom Studios, and I ended up getting, this is cover A, excuse me. I got two of those signed, and it's up here in this corner right here. Now, to be honest, I have not read this yet, so I do not know what's going on in the story, but I definitely would have. This signing was designed to coordinate when this book came out this week. So we got these two signed, and then Third Eye Comics had their own exclusive cover. And forgive me because I do not know the artist on here, but I ended up getting two copies of that because I love the art on this cover. Kind of wish there was a virgin cover of this so you can just have the artwork, but this silver on there just looks absolutely fantastic. And so I got two copies of that. Again, Once Upon a Time at the End of the World by Jason Aaron. I'll have to check these out and see what I think of it. I'm not going to give it a review at this time, but I thought it was kind of neat to get the book just as it's coming out in the sand. Literally, it came out on Wednesday. Those books came out on Wednesday. This was a Saturday signing, so they're brand new, still in the stands. So that's kind of cool. So then the only other thing that I ended up getting signed was this right here. It looks kind of childish. Of course, it's got my daughter's book cover over top of it. But what I'm talking about here is 5 Fabulous Decades of Marvel World's Greatest Comics, basically. Sorry, I'm not holding it up very well. This book's getting a little old. I've had it since 1993, and I've been getting just tons and tons of autographs. That's just one spread of autographs that I've gotten. And I can't even show it here without really wrecking up the studio. But let me show you. I'm going to go over here and I'll show you where I got right here on the spread right here, down here by my fingers. Ooh, I can't do it. Right there. Jason Aaron signed. It's right over top of Scotty Young and near Joe Quesada's autograph. So, and as you can see on the other side, I've got some pretty good autographs as well. There's Stan Lee, Bill Sienkiewicz, Denny O'Neil, there's McFarlane, Adams, Tom Palmer, and of course Frank Miller down there at the bottom. So that was the only other thing I ended up getting signed. That's a book that I have been working on since 1993. I've got I'm not sure how many autographs. I've never counted them up, but I got a spread in there with a ton of classic 60s, 70s artists, including Sal Buscema, George Perez, the Simonsons are on there. I'm trying to think who else. Paul Glacy, just tons of artists. And then over the years, on that other spread that you saw, I started getting every artist that I could when I went to a con. If he worked for Marvel, I was getting them. I'm kind of at an end right now because I'm not really enjoying much of the art from Marvel these days, unless it's one of the classic artists for the most part. So I'm kind of going to slow the roll a little bit. Just because they worked at Marvel doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to end up getting them in the book at this point. But on occasion, I will still bring that out for anybody who made a significant contribution to Marvel. And Jason Aaron definitely qualifies whether you like his work or not. So anyway, guys, that is it. That is the video for today. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. And if you like this kind of content, please consider subscribing. I appreciate all the support. And I will see you guys for the next video. Take care.